What are the major issues facing the state this session?
Well, we have to do the nuclear decision. Absolutely have to do that. It's mandated by the Supreme Court, and we have to sort it out and make it work, and we will. Republicans are focused on doing just that. Transportation, there's a lot of talk about the transportation package, will there be one, will there not? Also a lot of issue around reform. So I think in order to get a transportation package, number one, we need reforms first. And when we get reforms, and then if there's not enough money left over, we'll work on the transportation package will come up. But I think for right now, we have to focus on how we can fix what we have. The major issue for 13th district is water, and we have different issues across the entire district. Kittitas County has their issues on water and the water banking. And the Yakima Basin Storage Alliance thing there, we need to work on those. We need to work on this water storage. It has to be there. We have to get that in place. And then move over to Columbia Basin, there's a thing called the Columbia River Treaty that has to be dealt with, and that started this year. We have to redo that so we have the water for the irrigation system. And so that's there, and even though we're not directly involved in it, we do have to be aware of what's going on and how we can maybe solve some issues. And then the Odessa Aquifer is it's a problem. It's we need to solve this issue out there, and we need to work on it. There's some ideas on the table, and we need to put those ideas together and make it happen.
As a new representative, what have you done so far to get integrated?
Oh boy, well, we've had several days of orientation, but committee meetings have started. One of the things I talk about a lot is building relationships with the other legislators, and I'm working hard to do that, on both sides of the aisle. Meeting people, making friends, talking about our issues, our likes, what we have in common, and finding ways that we can work together. So that's exactly what I've been doing. And then, committee meetings are there, the information's coming. I do have one bill that's I hope to get dropped tomorrow, Friday. If not, it'll be Monday. It has to do with aircraft excise tax, and it has to do with where the money's going. It's not an additional tax. It just redirects where the money goes, and I'd like to put it back into the aeronautics fund so we can continue to fund our public use airports in the state of Washington. And I have another bill that probably will run next week. It has to do with recertification credits for pesticide applicators, and basically it just cleans up the law a little bit so it's easier to understand.
Any other goals or priorities for the session for you personally?
Oh, I do. There's some other things that I'm interested in as far as legislation. One of them has to do with chemical dependency treatment centers. And then there's a bill that I've co-sponsored on the fire thing. So if we do have a fire, the first responders, whether you're a farmer or a state agency or whatever, if you're there first and you have the machinery to build a fire line, you can do that without problems, without liability issues. So we can be there on top of it. I also want to work on the fire issue. I'm a 40-year career aviator, and I understand airplanes and spray planes, in particular, and look at how we can become first responders with some of this light aircraft when we do have a fire, because it would be easier to put out a 1-acre fire than a 1,000-acre fire. So a couple things I want to work on there. And the other thing is I had some little small issues that are out there. Not everything needs legislation to repair. Sometimes there's bills, there's agency rules that have unintended consequences, and if we sit down and discuss this with our people, we can sometimes find solutions without having to run legislation. And I had an issue with the Fish and Wildlife over some, I have a private pond on my property where I buy fish and put in it, and I do it for the specific reason to teach kids how to fish. Because I want kids how to fish, because I think it's better to learn how to fish than learn how to do math or something like that, right? Which is better. So I'm talked to the agency yesterday. One of the issues about that is we're supposed to have fishing licenses by law, and they have to only fish during seasons. And my idea is, wait a minute, I'm doing something here. It's private property, it's a private pond, it's private fish. I should be able to do this year round, and they agreed. So they're going to work on finding out how we can make that change within the agency, and so we won't need legislation. So these are some things that I have a list of things like that I want to work on. So
the governor mentioned a couple new taxes, the capital gains and carbon as well. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I struggle with the carbon tax. I struggle with this carbon deal because our carbon emissions are going down. We've gone down in the last 10 years. So now all of a sudden it's a big deal that we tax it so we can make it go down further. And we're so far down the list on our carbon pollution here that I don't know why it's an issue. So I struggle with that a little bit. It's maybe just a backdoor way to have more money and not be more responsible with the money that the taxpayers have already given us and trusted to us. So, and the other question was
Capital gains was
capital
another one
gains.
that was
Well, that's
suggested.
another one. You're going to have to prove to me why. Capital gains tax on stocks and bonds, I think it is. So we're already paying 23% to the federal government. Now you want 7% to the state, so that makes 30%. That's pretty high tax, So we'll have to just have a look at that. I'm struggling with that a little bit.
Those were my main questions. Is there anything you wanted to add?
Incredible experience. I'm enjoying my first few days here and looking forward to more.
Excellent. Thank you so much for meeting with me.
Perfect. Thank you.